All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Committee of Adjustment. This is a meeting to consider applications for minor variance and consents that's held under authority of the Planning Act of Ontario. Please keep in mind the intent of this process to review the proposal that's before us, listen to all the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any concerns or disputes that may exist between the town, individuals, or any organization. If a request for a deferral is made this evening, the committee grants such a request. The committee, after we consult with our Secretary Treasurer, will set a new hearing date. No further notice will be provided unless there are changes to the application. In order to conduct an effective and efficient hearing, we've adopted the following process. The owner or authorized agent will be given the opportunity, if so desired, to briefly explain to us the nature of the application and answer any questions that may arise out of the hearing. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for this presentation. You need to state your full name and address for the record, and any materials submitted to the committee will remain the property of this committee. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be the discretion of this committee. All persons attending the hearing who wish to support or oppose an application must also state their full name and address for the record. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided to make your presentation. All remarks or questions are to be directed to the chair of the committee. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be the discretion of this committee. If there are several speakers that share the same view, we ask that you elect a spokesperson to present the group's combined opinion. We want to hear all the views, however, covering the same points will not help us. The owner or authorized agent will be provided with a further 5 minutes to respond to comments made by any interested parties and answer any questions from the committee members. If the owner or agent has any concerns found in the staff report, particularly with any of the proposed conditions, this will be your opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken to committee for a decision, and that will mark the end of all discussion. Once the committee makes an oral decision this evening, any person desiring a copy must also file with the Secretary Treasurer at this meeting a written request for notice of decision, and we provided a green sheet in the back table that you could use to fill out and leave with us before you leave the hearing tonight. Please note that you must make a written request in order to be included on the list that is used by the Ontario Municipal Board for the given and any subsequent notice of any appeal. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed not later than 10 days for minor variance and 15 days for consents to the applicant, the owner and or agent, and any other person who filed a written request for such notice. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, you may appeal this to the Ontario Municipal Board. The last day to appeal our decision to the Ontario Municipal Board will be noted on the decision itself. If no appeal is received within the prescribed time frame, the decision of this committee becomes final and binding, and our Secretary Treasurer will then send out a notice to the applicant through written correspondence advising of no appeal. People attending this committee meeting are to be courteous to and respectful members of the committee, town staff, and other people in attendance tonight. And for everyone's information, tonight's meeting will be live streamed and available for future viewing on the town's live stream page at oakville.ca/live. We ask that cellular phones and pages be switched off during this meeting as they intend to interfere with our audio system. Thank you. We have one regret this evening. Mr. Tulowski cannot be here. Is there anyone here, members, that has any pecuniary interest, any declaration of any pecuniary interest? Everyone's nodding in the negative. So is there anyone here this evening that wishes to either withdraw or defer an application? Anyone wishing to withdraw or defer an application? Okay, I don't think we don't have any consent applications tonight. So we'll proceed with our first application, and this is CAV 99-2017 at 253 Tweesdale Crescent. Good evening, sir. Can we have your name and address for the record?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is David Capper, planning consultant with Glenn Schnarr & Associates. Our address is Unit 700 at 10 Kingsbridge Garden Circle, Mississauga, Ontario, L5R3K6.
Okay, thank you, sir. Before you proceed, let's see if there's a need for a full presentation. As you know, our procedural bylaw allows us to dispense a presentation on certain circumstances, certain criteria. Is there anyone here this evening that has an interest in application CAV 099-2017 at 253 Tweesdale Crescent? Okay, see none. This application, at least from staff's perspective, is recommended. They recommend it with the condition. Members, do you have any questions? Done your site visit, study the application? Sir, do you have anything to add to the application? We are familiar with it. We've done our site visit. Don't believe there was any correspondence on this one. not from my recollection.
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I could just very quickly point the committee's eyes to their screens. What I've done is highlighted a copy of the ground floor plan that illustrates where the majority of the increasing coverage is, and that is in covered porches. So these three, and there's actually a small fourth one here, those covered porch areas comprise 4.79% of the coverage. They don't actually contribute to the size of the building, but they do create, from a design perspective, a more favorable design. And I just wanted to point that out to the committee, that the majority of the building complies with the maximum coverage requirement, and that the increase is accommodated within these areas here.
Okay, thank you for that information. It's of assistance. No questions? Okay, we'll take this matter into committee. Members, I'm in your hands. Who would like to move a recommendation on CAV 99-2017? Mr. Hardcastle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having reviewed the materials, including the staff report, I am satisfied, like staff, that the requested variances conform to the four tests of the Act, noting the sensitive nature of the architectural design in blending the dwelling in with the existing neighborhood. So I'll put forward a motion of approval, subject to two conditions. The first being that the proposed dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the plans dated April 19th, 2017, as submitted, and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued. And I would note that there were no submissions by the public with respect to this matter.
Okay, thank you. Discussion recommendation? See none. All those in support? No one opposed. Your application has been approved, sir.
Thank you very much.
Application CAV 101-2017 at 190 Woodhaven Park Drive.
Good evening, Graham Barrett, agent for the owners.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Your address, 2410 Unit 22, Coles Avenue, Toronto?
That is correct.
Okay, so we have it on the notice is correct. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here this evening that has an interest in application CAVA 101-2017, 190 Woodhaven Park Drive? Okay, we're in a similar situation, sir. Is there anything you wish to add to the application?
I know it's pretty straightforward.
Members, I'm in your hands. You wish your presentation? Do you have any items of clarification? You've done your site visit, read the staff report. I don't think on this one either we have any comments. Yeah, we do have a, we did have a written submission on this one. In support. Okay, there's a few. Yeah, 4 of them. Okay. Anything else, sir?
No.
Okay, we'll take this matter to committee. Who would like to move a recommendation? Thank you, Ms. McCann.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move a recommendation to approve the application as set before us. I'm satisfied that it meets the 4 tests of the official plan as well as the zoning bylaw. The garage is going to be internal, but from the streetscape it'll have the appearance of one door, so there's no dominant feature to the dwelling, no adverse effects to the community, and there's many letters of support submitted. Having said that, I'll move a motion to approve the application.
Okay, and you're moving it subject to those 2 conditions?
Yes,
Just
that
like the
approval
previous
will expire
application?
within 2 years from the date of the decision if the development has not proceeded and/or building permit not issued. And our standard condition that the development proceed according to the plans as submitted.
All right, and note that there's no submissions, which I think you already said. Okay, discussion on the recommendation? See none. All those in support? No one opposed. Your application has been approved, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, application CAVA 102-2017 at 150 Randall Street.
Good evening. My name is Cleo Isaias. I'm at 2380 Whitecroft Road.
Good evening, sir. Okay, is there anyone here this evening that has an interest in this application as well, CAVA 102-2017 at 150 Randall Street? You're here in support? Okay, I saw 2 hands. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but you can let us know who's here with you, sir, in support, so we can record their names.
These are this is Paul Squires and Dennis Creel. They are the owners.
Okay, so they're owners. All right, so this matter was before us in, I guess, 2013?
Yes, sir.
And what's changed? A little bit of a height difference?
Well, that was before my time.
15.8, do you want it, 15.8 to the flat roof and 18.3 to the top of the tower stairs? So maybe you can let us know what changed?
Well, it's a completely different design. The previous design was discarded, and we were pulled in with the mandate to redesign the building.
Okay,
We followed directions from close discussions with the urban design team,
okay,
and I think we produced a building that's satisfactory to everybody. The height issue, it's to the top of the screen walls for mechanical equipment.
right, those flat walls, the architectural components,
It's an architectural element, yes.
urban design components, we understand. Okay, is there any questions of Mr. Isaias? Is there anyone here this evening? Okay, we saw the two, there's no one else. Okay, is there anything you wish to add, sir, to the application?
No, I think the staff report is quite,
Yes, it was, quite
Detailed,
detailed,
yes.
everything. And I don't think we have any written submissions on this one. Okay, we'll take this matter into committee. Who would like to move a recommendation? Mr. Mark Charlebois?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having visited the site and read the staff report, and I note that there's no one here from the public in objection, there's no letters. Obviously, there were 2 people in support, but I do note that they were the owners. So taking this into account, as you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, this particular place had been approved by this committee for a height increase back in 2013 to a height of 18.3 meters. The building has since been redesigned. From what I can gather from this, in fact, the town is more appreciative of that design. There's been a slight increase from the 18.3 meters to 18.69. But I find that I agree with staff and their opinion on this, that it works well for this neighborhood. So I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this, finding that it meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act, making it subject to the condition that proposed development be constructed in general accordance with the final approved site plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning Services, and furthermore, that this condition will expire 2 years from the date of this decision if the proposed development does not proceed or a building permit is not issued.
Okay, thank you for that. Discussion on recommendation? Seeing none, all those in support? No one opposed, your application has been approved, sir.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll deal with application CAVA 103-2017 at 480 Chamberlain Lane. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Christian Fortune for 550 Spears Road. I'm the authorized agent for the homeowners.
Okay, thank you. This is a situation where a presentation we required. Staff are not in support of this, and we'd like to hear your position on the application. We've done our site visit. We read the staff report, so we understand the nature and the basis of the application, and anything you can help us would be great.
We read the analysis, and we would like to withdraw the first variance of the overall dwelling depth of 20.4 meters to, we'll reduce it down to the 20 meters. But we would still like to apply for relief of the overall residential floor area from 29% to 33.2%.
Sir, have you had a chance to communicate that revisions with anyone at the town, the Committee of Adjustment, or
No.
Secretary Treasurer?
No, we just got the comments on Friday, so we haven't yet been able to do that. But we took into account the analysis of the impact that the house design that we applied for, and we, as I said, we reduced the overall depth, and we changed the garage roof on the side and on the side to try to accommodate the overall scaling and massing.
So when you change the depth, does it affect the second variance?
A little bit. Well, it's not as we reduced the house by.
Well, here's why I'm asking, right? Because we haven't seen any revised plans, and although you're heading in the right direction,
I have plans here.
but we'd like to know what we're going to approve. We also want to know how that affects variance too.
Well, as I said, the variance 1 is gone.
Okay, so what does it do for variance 2?
Variance 2, well,
You're at 33.2%. Obviously, if you reduce the depth by 0.4 of a meter, it'll have an impact on your residential floor area.
we have porches in the front and the back. We reduced the porches. We comply with all other of the zonings. We don't.
Okay, but what is that number for variance 2? Is it still at 33.2?
It still is at 33.2.
Okay, and you have revised plans?
I have revised plans, yeah.
Okay, members, are you comfortable proceeding with the revised application? Mr. Charlebois?
Yeah, lots of times I am. I'm a little uncomfortable with this one because I know the town put forward their objection based on the combination of the depth and the coverage. And I have to admit, from my point of view, it gets into this realm of being a little bit more subjective as opposed to objective in deciding. So a lot of what I did was sort of stand on the site with the drawings and try and figure it out. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it justice if you just throw me the drawings here and ask me for a decision within, 30 seconds or so.
I understand that. We comply with the coverage. It's the square footage that we don't comply with.
No, I realize that. We're talking about residential, if I said coverage, I misspoke myself, I'm sorry. I meant the second variant, just the residential floor area. You're trying to imagine what this thing is standing on the site, looking at everything else.
Obviously,
I'm just giving you a heads up that.
Yeah, I have some renderings if you wanted to see the comparison of what we had and what we would propose.
It's just that another recourse you could, if you wanted to, would be to seek a deferral, go back to the town, speak with them, and they may come back with a favorable thing, because this was tight in terms of their analysis.
So what you're hearing is a preemptive set of ideas or thoughts flowing freely from Mr. Charlebois' head about where he may stand on this application, and it hasn't had the benefit of a full review by staff. And although I do commend you in heading in the right direction, reading the report, but again, we can deal with the application. It's really entirely in your hands. But you may also want to consider, for your benefit, a deferral to allow for the extra little time to discuss and see if you can have that dialogue with staff, which you have not, obviously. But I do commend you in looking at the report and, trying to satisfy this thing. We're entirely in your hands. You can seek a deferral to see if you can bridge the gap, or if you have, or we can proceed with the revised application.
If we were to seek referral, when would the next available?
I think July 25th, is it? Or June 25th? No, July 25th?
It's July 25th, but you would have to get in all your 14 sets of drawings. There's a deferral fee. Once all that comes in, then you'll be scheduled, and I think there's just a few spots left on July 25th, so it depends when you can get everything in.
And so is the committee open to reviewing the plans we have now?
Well, listen, this is your application. This is your time, but we can proceed.
The design plan that we...
All right, well, I'll tell you what, you're not open to a deferral, so let's proceed with your revised application. We'll accept it on the basis of the revised application. You deleted variance number 1, and we'll deal with variance number 2. And you can submit to us your revised set of plans, and we'll proceed with your application as revised. Well, we're going to look at them. We're not adding... we're not adding variances, we're deleting them, so...
We're deleting one, yes.
It is your application. You've given a heads up, at least from one member of the committee, and we'll have to proceed. We prefer to have a bit more time, but we've been doing this for a long period of time, and I don't think it would be excessively difficult for us to grasp the concept of the revision. Okay, you have 5 minutes. Proceed.
Through the analysis, the main concern was the overall massing and scale over the garage area, and with the abutting neighbor on 1124 Melvin. They're actually here today, and they agree with this, with our proposal. So. If you can notice here, the main issue, as I said, was over the garage. We've lowered the the roof height substantially on both the front and the side.
No, there's, so that's the only rendering you have, right?
I have,
Yeah.
I have it on the side as well.
Because this is a rear yard, side yard relationship, right? The way the building is located?
Yeah, rear yard for 1124 Melvin.
Right,
correct.
okay. So you're saying to reduce the combined effects of the variances, you eliminated the depth, but you're maintaining the residential floor area?
Correct.
Anything else you wish to add, sir?
No, I believe-
Any questions, Mr. Fortune?
Yeah, could you just show me where, again, on the, maybe I missed it when I was looking down here, the porches? I see the porches have been reduced.
The front
From,
porch was where we reduced the 0.4 meters.
So basically 11, kind of 11, 12 meters or so in terms of, yeah, 1.1 square meters worth of porches. That's it, right? And then that architectural feature?
Well, effectively, you said that you took the depth out from the front porch, the 0.4 meters. You didn't affect the massing of the building. You just reduced because the front porch there counts as part, excuse me, counts as part of building depth.
Correct. In terms of massing, that's where I reduced the roof height.
Right, but you didn't affect the massing of the building itself.
The lot coverage? We can-
No, with the massing. In other words, back to my earlier point, by reducing the depth, you took it off the porch, which doesn't affect the 33.2%
No, it
residential
does
floor
not
area.
affect the residential floor
Okay,
area.
because I think staff had a concern on both, and not just the depth, but also the massing. Okay, any further questions? All right, let's just see, is there anyone here that has an interest in the application, CAV, oh boy, I lost my notes here. CAV 103-2017 at 480 Chamberlain Lane. Okay, seeing none. And nothing else you wish to add, sir?
We believe the house fits the neighborhood. There's some quite large houses in the neighborhood, and the intent for this extra room was to have room for the client's aging parents should they need to move in with them. That was why
Okay.
we added the extra square footage.
Okay, thank you. We'll take this matter to committee and issue a decision. And you said the neighbors on the other side are satisfied with the application? Sir, that was
Sir.
your,
Mr. Chairman, just to confirm, you didn't give us a new site plan, though? You just gave us a new building
No,
drawings, right?
I didn't have enough time to
Okay.
put the new site plan. But
okay, but
obviously
I think the nature of the changes are fairly well understood by us, yeah. Okay, we'll take this matter to committee. Who would like to move a recommendation on this? Oh, sorry. Well, you have to come up. We don't,
You asked, no one said, but
yeah.
Asked the question, sorry, you just asked the question, are the neighbors okay? We're the neighbors. And
Right.
And we're happy with it.
Okay, can we get your name and address? That's very helpful for us. That's why we ask who's here in support or
Sorry,
opposition.
I
Yes.
should have put my hand up. Chris Cowan, we're at
Okay,
1124 Melvin.
okay, thank you.
124 Melvin?
1124.
Melvin.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else?
My wife's here too.
Okay, all right, same house, we got it, we get it. Okay, that's helpful, thank you. Who would like to move a recommendation? Back to my question. Sorry, I missed the hand? Yes, well, we're just letting them reflect a bit. Yes, Mr. Hardcastle, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
You know, we've
Chairman.
taken a lot of information in a very short period of time, and sometimes it's very hard to just on the spot, you know, you got to think about it. a bit.
I
So
understand. Yeah.
We asked for some indulgence, and in this case, to help Mr. Hardcastle. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The changes to the site plan and ultimately the building elevations are relatively minor in my view. The lowering of the eaves of the portion above the garage serves only to change the architectural fenestration. Ultimately, the massing would remain the same in my view. I felt that the staff report that was provided with respect to this application, notwithstanding the removal of the 0.4 meters from the front porch, was well done, and it continues to be reflective of the condition that's shown on these drawings. So I'll be putting forward a motion to refuse the application on the grounds that it does not conform to the official plan, the zoning, and is not desirable for the appropriate development of the land.
Recommendation is to refuse. Is there discussion on recommendation? Mr. Charlebois?
I'm actually going to support his application, or his recommendation, but only because of this. I mean, at the end of the day, I think you are on the right track, as the chairman said. I really do think that if you took the advice of the town, looked at this again, and met with him again, I'm sure that you guys can come to some sort of compromise. The difficulty I have on this thing here is I can't tell if the changes that you made are exactly what the town was looking for, because of course they put forward a certain position based on what you did, and now they haven't had a chance to comment on your new application. And the difficulty is that we have to approve these things subject to the drawings, subject to everything, and I just feel that I just don't have enough information to go against their recommendation here. So that's why I'm going to support this motion to deny also.
In fairness, I think you telegraphed that earlier, so, yes, so there's no surprises there. Any further comments? See none? Okay, the recommendation is to refuse the application. Those in support of the recommendation to refuse? The revised application, sorry, yes. Those opposed? Okay, now I'm abstaining. So, Ms. McHale, I missed your hand. Did you the refusal? Okay, your application's been refused, sir. Okay, so application CAVA 104-2017 at 2380 Gooseberry Way.
Good evening, Giovanni Lavelle. I'm the homeowner at 2380 Gooseberry.
Okay, thank you. Let's just see if there's anyone here this evening that has an interest in application CAV 104-2017 at 2380 Gooseberry Way. See none? Okay, this is a variance for location of a swimming pool. Members, do you have any concerns, anything you wish to explore with the applicant, sir? Do you have any additional information? We've done our site visit to the best of our ability because we don't always get to the backyards, but.
No, I don't have anything further. I think
Okay,
it's
thank you.
pretty
We'll take this
simple.
matter to committee then. Who would like to move a recommendation? Thank you, Ms. Mikhail.
I'll move a recommendation to approve the application as set before us. It is minor in nature and meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. I will add the condition, I'm not sure, that the proposed in-ground pool be constructed in general accordance with the plans as submitted. And then our regular
2-year condition?
2-year condition.
Okay. They don't need a building permit.
They don't? Okay.
Okay. All right, well, that's fine. So the condition within 2 years, no, it's not required. Okay, so that's in accordance with the plan submitted. Discussion on a recommendation with the one condition? See none, all those in support? No one opposed, your application's been approved, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, application CAVA 105-2017 at 2377 Lakeshore Road West.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is David Brown. I'm a planning associate and authorized agents for the owners of the property at 2377 Lakeshore Road West.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here this evening that has an interest in application CAVA 105-2017 at 2377 Lakeshore Road West? Okay, again, sir, you're familiar with our procedure. Members, do you have any questions, any items of clarification? You've done your site visit, read the staff report. Mr. Charlebois has shown a hand. Yes?
Can you just show, you're about to do it.
Yep.
Just show me exactly where those things were, because I thought I figured them out on here, but I wasn't sure.
Prepared for you, Mr. Charlebois.
Thank you.
We've got 3 parking spaces that are the subject of the variances with respect to the width of the parking space. The bylaw requires 2.7 meters in width and 3 meters where we've got a wall adjacent to it, such as in this location. I've got 2 posts right here that creates a pinch point for me, and this one here, we're almost there, but just not quite. So it's those 3 parking spaces. I'm going to suggest to the committee that there's ample room through here to maneuver the vehicle in and out, so it doesn't pose any safety. This one is a little bit wider. I could have readjusted those spaces, made them a little bit narrower to make them comply, but it was the determination with our client that having a little bit wider spaces would just create a little bit more maneuverability in the underground garage. The aisle width is just this area here adjacent to that. It measures out at 18 feet, which I forget what it's supposed to be in metric numbers, but it's a little bigger than 18 feet. And it's so it's just for this area. There's ample room that we can get past it there and there. There's lots of, we've done through, you can see the lines that we've included on the floor plan in the garage just to demonstrate that cars can pull in, back out without too much difficulty or confusion. And it's just this small area for the width, or for the aisle width, and these 3 parking spaces that we're asking for consideration on.
And you mentioned they were a little bit smaller. Can you give me the numbers? Do you have those by chance?
The bylaw works out that it's 2.7 meters is
Right.
required. We're at 2.74, and the one space here is at 2.95. So it's a matter of inches, but I'm going to suggest to you in an underground garage structure, those inches will make the difference. There is a little bit of a buffer down this. We've got a stripe down that side just to shift the parking spaces for the purpose of when coming in is the easy part, but backing out, just giving a little bit more width for that turning radius to get out.
Okay. Good, thanks.
Okay, seeing none, we'll take this matter. Again, and no one's here this evening that has an interest in application CAVA 105-2017 at 2377 Lakeshore Road West. All right, we'll take this matter into committee. Who would like to move a recommendation? Mr. Charlebois, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Having.
Oh, I just want to note there, we didn't have any written submissions by anyone.
No.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
having visited the site, reviewed the site plan, listened to the presentation here this evening, and again noting that that the public has not commented on here with respect to this application, I'm going to put forward a recommendation that this application be accepted, finding it meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act. Bear with me, making it subject to the condition that the proposed development be constructed in general accordance with the final approved site plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning Services, and furthermore, that this will be also subject to the condition that the approval will expire 2 years from the date of this decision if the proposed development does not proceed or a building permit is not issued.
Okay, thank you. Discussion on recommendation? See none, and then I guess to note that there were no submissions, which I think we discussed earlier. Any discussion recommendation? See none, all those in support? No one opposed, your application being approved, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Have a good evening.
Good evening, sir. Application CAVA 106-2017 at 1195 Wood Place.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Sharif Fidali. I'm an authorized agent. Live at 2455 Millstone Drive, Oakville.
Okay, thank you. Staff are recommending approval on this application. Is there anyone here this evening that has an interest in application CAVA 106-2017-1195 Wood Place? Okay. Members, do you have any questions? Any items of clarification? Sir, is there anything you wish to add to the application?
No, thank you.
Okay. We'll take this. Can I ask Ms. Halich? Staff are recommending two conditions. I understand the first one, which is pretty standard. How do we enforce the second condition, which is that the existing privacy hedge or other natural screen along the rear lot line and portions of the flankage and interior lot line be provided and maintained? I mean, I guess the provided is one thing, maintained, how do we enforce that? And, just trying to scratch my head whether that's a proper condition.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the committee, staff believe that the vegetation that's found within the property are character-defining features of this particular neighborhood. We recognize that vegetation has a lifespan and it can age and die over time or be disrupted by different types of development, which is why that this particular condition is expanded to allow some flexibility for the homeowner to provide some form of natural screening that would enhance as well as maintain that vegetative characteristic within this area. It would be maintained as a condition, just as any other condition would be maintained through bylaw enforcement or complaint or anything along those lines that might be provided when one of the conditions has not been adhered to.
Yeah, anyways, I may differ on my view on that, but we'll see, sir. Just in fairness, staff are proposing a condition about landscaping. What are your plans and, what's your
We do
position on
plan on
that
maintaining
condition?
it, so it doesn't
You're
really.
okay with that condition?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what the committee thinks. We'll take this matter into committee. Members, who would like to move a recommendation?
Hi, Mr. Chairman, I'll, based on the site visit as well as the staff report, I do recognize the cedar hedge. I saw what the staff report was speaking about, if it can be maintained and the applicant is willing to adhere to that condition, then I have no problem in adding it into our what's the word I'm looking for? Decision, thank you. I find that the application does meet the four tests. The design of the house is very respectful of the neighbors. I saw several new builds in the area, all incorporating the second floor within the roof line, and I think that the applicant has done a good job in maintaining that. Having said that, I'll move a motion to approve the application as set before us, and I'll read the two conditions into record: that the proposed dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the plans as submitted, and that the existing privacy hedge or other natural screen along the rear lot line and portions of the flankage and interior lot line be provided and maintained.
Discussion on recommendation? I just want to say, for the record, I'm having struggles with the condition on landscaping because it's not only subjective. We don't have an inventory what's there, what doesn't exist, but I appreciate your thing. I think we need to have between departments a fuller discussion on how that thing is enforced on a go-forward basis. But in this instance, I think the applicant was quite frank in saying that I'm going to maintain it. So, we're taking on the strength. He had the opportunity to give us submissions on a condition, whether he was satisfied with it. He appears to be. So on that basis, I'm, proceeding on accepting the recommendation. Yes, Mr. Charlevoix.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I can just throw in, because I just missed it, was our standard 2-year condition. I'd just like to add that perhaps we should put in the condition that approval will expire 2 years from the date of this decision.
You okay with that amendment?
If the proposed development does not proceed, yep.
So
Okay.
the recommendation is to approve the application subject to those three conditions. All those in support? No one opposed. Your application has been approved, sir.
Great, thank you.
Application CAVA 107-2017 at 177 Shibukto Drive.
Good evening, Darren Smith. I'm the agent for the client.
Good evening, Mr. Smith. You're at 453 Branch Street in Burlington?
That's correct.
All right. This is recommended for approval, at least by staff. Let's just see if there's anyone here this evening that has an interest in the application, CAVA 107-2017 at 177 Shibuto Drive. Sir, you've shown a hand?
I'm the homeowner.
Well, okay, that helps to identify that. Okay, so that's great. Members, I'm in your hands. Do you wish a presentation? You've done your site visit, studied the staff report. I don't believe we received any comment. We have one. Oh, yes, yes, I had it here on my right, just not to forget, and I forgot it. Okay, 7 letters of support. Anything you wish to add, sir?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, we'll take this matter into committee. Who would like to move a recommendation? Mr. Hardcastle?
Mr. Chairman, having visited the site and reviewed the staff report, I'm satisfied that the requested variance, conforms to the 4 tests of the Act. The requested increase in residential floor area is relatively modest, and the building undertakes, the building design is sensitive to the neighborhood and the additional massing. So I'll put forward a motion of approval subject to 2 conditions. The first being that the proposed rear addition and front bay window be constructed in general accordance with the plans dated April 27th, 2017. And the second being that the approval will expire within 2 years if a building permit has not been issued.
Discussion on the recommendation? See none. All those in support? No one opposed. Your application being approved.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. Just wondering, just quick inventory here. Who is here on application CAVA 110-2017 at 186 Chalmers Street? Who is here on CAVA 109-2017 at 372 Stanfield Drive? You're here.
I am the.
Just very quick, sir. I don't want any submission. I just want to know you're here in opposition or in
No,
support?
I am just behalf of the owner. I
You're-
am the representative as the owner.
There's someone else here that, on behalf of the owner too. Maybe you should sit with the gentleman in the back. See the gentleman in the back?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to introduce you to him. And then what I asked is, we have an application at 108 or at 2315 Sovereign Street, and that we're going to need a presentation given staff's position on it. And I just wanted to take them a little bit out of order to allow that applicant enough time to give us their presentation. So you go meet Mr. Capper in the back. And very quickly, I'm going to take it out of order. I'm going to take application CAVA 110-2017 at 186 Chalmers Street. No, I'm going to do Chalmers, the last one first, out of order, because there's no staff position on that, and we'll see if you need a presentation. Sir, can we have your name and address for the record?
Good evening. My name is David Wilson with Built Environment Design, and we're located at 126 Catherine Street North in Hamilton.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here this evening that has an interest in application CAVA 110-2017 at 186 Chalmers Street? Okay, seeing none. Members, do you wish a presentation on this? Do you have any questions, items of clarification?
I do, sorry.
You do?
Well, there was a comment in here from the region, and I just wanted to know, staff, the region was basically recommending revising the plans, and then staff didn't really speak to it. So I was wondering if it was one of those ones where their comments came in after your report or something, and
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the committee, yes, unfortunately, there was the situation where the region's comments did arrive to me a little bit later after they were after our comments had been prepared and submitted. I have spoken directly with the region with respect to their comments. Our position does not change following the comments that they have provided. So it will be up to the discretion of the committee should they choose to impose any condition on this application, or should you choose, or if the applicant chooses to defer the application to have those discussions with the region. But the comments provided by staff remain. We are supportive of this application as submitted.
Sir, have you read the regional conditions?
Yes, I have.
What's your position on that, quickly?
Yeah, in brief, actually, there is a slight misunderstanding on, in my opinion, on the part of the conservation. I would say the reason being that I neglected on my planning to show the exact location of the existing deck that they're referring to.
Yes?
On my plans, I didn't think it was relevant in for what we were asking for. The existing deck is actually slightly larger already than the proposed addition by 0.29 of a meter. So I did just quickly print it off the existing plan of the house just for reference.
Can you show that on the big screen so we can follow?
Sure. Not that familiar with, does that come out correctly? Okay. Yeah, so perhaps the easiest way to see it, it's probably very faint, but this dashed line is the outline of the existing deck.
Right.
That's being proposed. And this is the distance is 5.42 meters from the rear face of the house.
Okay.
To the back face of the deck.
Right.
We're proposing that we would remove that deck.
Right.
And the proposed addition is slightly smaller. I'm just going to overlay it if that's okay. That will still show.
So you're replacing it with a smaller deck?
Yes, the smaller deck, and it's on your drawings, is 5.13 meters from the face of the existing face of the rear home.
So we're measuring from the same point as the other drawing?
Yes, that's correct.
So it's by about 0.3 meters shorter?
0.29 meters shorter.
Okay, sorry,
Yes.
I rounded it off.
Sorry, 0.29 meters shorter. So I think that addresses the comment that the intention, the design intention was essentially to make an addition that was the same, essentially the same size as the existing deck.
And not larger? Okay.
Not larger. In fact, it's narrower as well. The existing deck protrudes slightly to the north side of the property.
Protrudes beyond the main wall, sidewall. Yeah, we see that.
Yes, slightly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the distance is, you know.
Okay,
2.5
thank you for
feet.
that clarification. Any
Yeah.
further questions?
Yeah.
All right, who would like to move a recommendation on this application?
Actually, if I may add one more small comment.
Oh, yes, of course.
The second comment from the conservation was the condition of hoarding, which is of course understandable, and it doesn't show in the photographs, but on the site plan it shows property line, and it notes that there's, actually I apologize, it does not note, there's wood fencing on the north and south boundaries of the property, and across the rear of the property line that separates it from the wooded area is an existing wire frost-free fence. I'm not sure of the height, sort of a standard 4-foot wire fence that's already present. And by memory, the woodlands, the actual, any sort of significant sized trees are some meters back from that already, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Members, who would like to move a recommendation? Thank you, Mr. Charlevoix.
Mr. Chairman, having conducted my site visit, read the staff report, and at this meeting sought clarification from both the town and the applicant, I do note that the region had voiced an objection, which I feel has been addressed in this particular meeting satisfactorily. On that, and I do note that the public has not commented on this particular application. So taking all that into account, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this particular application, finding it meets the 4 tests under the Planning Act, making it subject to the condition that the proposed rear addition and deck extensions be constructed in general accordance with the plans dated March 2017 as submitted, and making it further subject to the condition that this approval will expire 2 years from the date of this decision if the proposed development does not proceed and/or a building permit is not issued.
Okay, thank you. Discussion on recommendation? See none. All those in support? No one opposed. The application's been approved. Okay, again, we'll just take number 10 on the list out of sequence, CAVA 109-2017 at 372 Stanfield Drive.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, sir. Name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is David Capper with Glenn Schnarr Associates. Our
Okay.
address is Unit 700 at 10 Kingsbridge Garden Circle in Mississauga, Ontario, L5R3K6. We're here on behalf of the owners of the property, and Mr. Tahir is the general contractor
Okay.
that will be dealing with the project.
So you reconciled your
Yes,
retainer
miscommunication on our
differences?
behalf.
Yes?
On our behalf,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, is there anyone here this evening that has an interest in application CAVA 109-2017 at 372 Stanfield Drive? See none. Members, do you have any questions, items of clarification? Anything you wish to add, sir, to the application?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no.
Okay, we'll take this matter to committee. Who would like to move a recommendation? Thank you, Ms. Michal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to move a recommendation to approve this application now that we've seen it again. It was previously before us, and the new design is much more sympathetic with the character and surrounding of the neighborhood with its transitions and incorporation of the second floor into the roof line. So I'm glad that now we have a favorable outcome and that town is in full support. I'll make a recommendation to approve this application based on our regular condition that that our approval will expire within 2 years if the development has not proceeded and/or a building permit not issued, and the conditions set forth by staff that the proposed dwelling be constructed in general accordance with the plans dated May 2nd, 2017, as submitted. And I do note that there are no objections from the public. And that's it. I think I've covered it all.
Yeah, I think you did. Any discussion recommendation? See none. All those in support? No one opposed. The application's been approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Okay.
evening.
CAVA 108-2017 at 2315 Sovereign Street. And my apology for slightly delaying you, so we can give
Good
you
evening, all
a
of
bit
you.
more time to deal with this application, given staff's position on it. Can I have your name and address for the record?
My
sir?
name is Abdul Al-Shugri. I represent the family that owns the property here.
Okay, so give us your name again.
Abdul Al-Shugri.
A-B,
A-B-D-U-L.
A-B-D-U-L,
A-L-S-H.
A-L-S-H,
O-G-H-R-I.
O-G,
G-H-R-I.
okay, and your address?
4493 Marchdale Court. Mississauga. Ontario.
Airport?
Marchdale Court.
Marchdale Court. Do you have a business card?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you, sir, because you're not on our record, so we
Yes,
just want.
the architect not here is out of country, so.
Okay, so you're aware, you read the staff report on this matter?
yes.
Okay, and you're ready to proceed on the application? So let's have your
So
presentation.
actually, we have 3 items for 3 variances for this property. The first one is the size of the house, which is around, supposed to be 506. It's 548 square meters, which is around 41 square meters more than allowed. You know, the family is a big family, and they are looking to live together, and this is one of their requirements for the house, for the size of the house. The second one is the garage size, which is supposed to be 45 square meters. It's 48 square meters. Again, like 45 will fit only two-car garages, and they are looking for 3. So this is why the increase of 3 square meters, around 3. The third one is having balcony on the back side of the house, and this is like kind of health requirement for the owner. He has some allergic or health issues, and he would like to go out of the house every while on second floor. And the whole family is here also with us.
Do you have any specific comments on the staff report? You've read it?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Members, do you have any questions? Okay, so let's get your
I've been to the site and I have a picture of it. I just want to know what you back onto, because it wasn't clear from the street view on Sovereign.
The other house, the other side is another house.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at the notice, they back on
Yeah.
lots on Bell.
Yes.
Okay.
This is one of the largest lots. This is the largest lot, at least in this particular
Yes.
area. It's
Yeah.
almost like a double lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and it's well.
And it's vacant.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
We
it's
already
well,
demolished the
it's
existing
well,
house, and it's vacant
there's a
now.
lot of foliage and stuff. I just want to see the intentions of the trees. I'll,
Well, here's your chance to ask.
Okay, so since I was looking for a site plan to see if you're going to be removing any trees.
We already did remove one tree.
Yes, but from what I saw yesterday, for example, what are
No-
your
no more
intentions
trees.
in terms of removing further
No,
trees or foliage?
no more trees for sure. We get a permit to remove one, which is encroaching with the house, but no more trees.
So that has been already removed?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further questions? Mr. Charlebois?
In all fairness, sir, your comments with respect to the variances were related to the family and their needs and their size, and although I respect that completely, what I'm trying to deal with here is the planning behind this. The neighborhood that you're in is relatively older stock homes. The requirement under, usually in a redevelopment is, of course, redevelopments are permitted, but that you're supposed to be sympathetic to everything around you. It's supposed to be an easy transition. You're on a huge lot. You want to build a huge building. It's just going to dwarf everything on either side. And so I'm going to give you another opportunity to, if you've got anything, to talk to these variances in any order. For example, the balcony. A balcony is just not permitted. So everybody wants a balcony. I get that, but the fact of the matter is it's not permitted. So why? And the reason it's not permitted is because it's in the new zoning bylaw, because it overlooks your neighbors, and in this case, you overlook neighbors. Some cases, we have people coming in looking for houses, they don't look over neighbors, and so there's a little bit of leniency. Okay, you know what, you got a balcony, there's no overlook.
Well, for the balcony, for this property, it's around 200 feet in depth. And there's like a huge row of trees at the back of the property, so it doesn't overlook to any neighbors on the back side.
But trees lose their leaves, and again, I don't want to make a big deal. I just want to, if that's the argument you want to make, then I'll rest
the
there.
neighborhood are old houses, yeah, but the three houses right west of our property is going to be redeveloped very soon. That's what the neighbors told us.
Right.
And already two properties were already developed at the east of this property in the street, so.
Yes.
It's going renewed, so this is one of the properties getting renewed.
Okay, thank you.
The original applicant or agent on this when the application was filed, or you just come on the file recently?
No, I'm on it, but I'm not the architect. The architect
Oh, I
is,
understand that, but here's why I'm asking. Have you or the architect had an opportunity to review the staff report and talk to staff? Or have you had any opportunity to discuss with staff about some of their concerns found in the staff report?
I believe the architect did, but myself, no.
Okay, let me just have, Ms. Mihalich, did you get any calls from anyone? Or it's just a case of an application's filed, a hearing came up, the report came out, and there's been no contact?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the latter is correct. We have not received any correspondence from the applicant or the property owners on this particular property. There's been no pre-consultation that I'm aware of that occurred with respect to this application, and nobody has contacted us once the comments were released on Friday to discuss the comments that staff prepared or the application itself.
Sir, now that you're familiar with the sequence of timing of events, does that give you any sense to rethink of how you wish to proceed on your application?
Well, we would like to have these three items approved.
All right. All right. Anything you wish to add, sir, to the application?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, sorry, you had a question? Sometimes I forget to look to my right. Okay, so we'll proceed. Thank you. Who would like to move a recommendation? I'm looking to my right. Mr. Hardcastle, thank you.
No? Okay, sorry.
No? Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and sorry, Mr. Charlebois. This is a very interesting neighborhood that has quite a large variety of different types of built form in it, ages of homes and that kind of thing. So I think that there's some flexibility in terms of character and eclectic nature, I think, is the eclectic is the thing that came to mind when I was going in and around in this neighborhood. But one thing that is fairly consistent, and I can't seem to get past in the consideration of this application, is the relative size and mass of the homes in the area. On the most part, although there are a couple of new homes that are slightly larger than the bulk of the homes that exist in the area, generally speaking, they're relatively modest in size and mass, and this is a very big building. It's very large, and the architectural styling of this building makes no efforts to conceal or reduce the physical size or massing. The elements, including a very large two-story front porch, all speak to a grand style which is in conflict with the general character of the area. So while I don't have an objection to the first variance in and of itself, I do have some concerns with respect to the other two variances. I've spoken to massing and the balcony. There is lots of opportunity for overlook in this case that I can't get around. So on the basis, I'm going to put forward a motion with respect to all three variances, recommending refusal of the variances.
Okay, thank you. Discussion recommendation?
I'm going to support Mr. Hardcastle with respect to his recommendation. Coming down Jones Street, I can see the new developments and how you can fit within that envelope. But as you go down Sovereign Street and you cross Nelson, you've hit a completely different envelope, and I can see how that just sits in the wrong place. And I have to agree with staff. It's very heavily wooded, so from my perspective, I wasn't sure how much of an on-look you would have from a balcony from the streetscape where I was standing. But I'm going to leave that discussion for another time and another application.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? See none. Recommendation is to refuse. All those in support of the refusal? No one opposed. The application has been refused, sir. Okay, we have minutes of May the 30th. We were all here.
Thank
Who
you.
would like to move the minutes? Mr. Charlebois?
Mr. Chairman, I'll put forward a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Any discussion on that? See none. All those in support? Good. Who would like to move the final motion? Oh, Mr. Charlebois. A motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I'll put forward a motion to adjourn.
Okay. All those in support? We're adjourned at 8:02.